Live in your mind from the Astral Plane, Battle of the Network Shows proudly presents the Season 5 BATTY Awards. Thrill as the Best Male Actor receives his award upside down. Squeal when a bird demon thing carries the best performance by a youth away in its talons. Delight as Sherman Helmsley and Paul Williams join Sean Cassidy and the circus in a never-ending prog rock rendition of Obla Di Obla Da. All that and more in the Season 5 BATTY Awards. Battle of the Network Shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series.
Well, welcome to the Season 5 BATTY Awards, and Rick, we've been some interesting places for the BATTY Awards.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have.
We're on the Love Boat.
Yeah.
We went to space.
That was amazing.
You'd think it couldn't get any weirder than that.
I never dreamed anything could top that.
But here we are in the Astral Plane.
This is unbelievable, really.
It's one might say, trippy.
It kind of is. I feel a little... It's taken me a little bit to get my bearings.
Yeah, I took some Dramamine, but apparently it doesn't matter when you're on the Astral Plane.
No effect, huh?
Well, I don't feel sick either because, we don't have bodies right now.
Yeah.
We're astral projections.
Yeah.
So it's good in a way, but you do need to get your bearings, and frankly, I'm going to try to stay focused on either looking at you when I'm talking to you or looking at my list of nominees here.
Yeah.
I don't want to look down.
That's probably a good idea.
But then if you look up, you might be looking down.
That's also true.
You look sideways, you might be. It's
what a quandary.
Yeah, and it's constantly shifting.
Right.
We also made the mistake of not bringing an Astral Plane Sherpa with us.
Ugh.
So, I hope we find our way out.
Yeah. It might take a long time for this to be released, but...
Yeah.
Well, we'll go through it, and everybody be patient with us if we get distracted or lose focus at times.
Right.
I think it's a natural byproduct of this ethereal state we're in.
Yes. If you're new to the BATTY Awards, just explain as we always do. These are awards we're giving not to ourselves, but to various people and shows from the past season that we feel deserve awards.
Right.
And they've been nominated by a special Blue Ribbon nominating committee.
Mm-hmm.
We're always tinkering with that committee because things sometimes go awry there.
Yeah, we like to freshen up the committee too every now and then, get some new blood in there.
Yeah.
Make sure that we don't get stagnant with some of our choices. And
this isn't the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, we have a constantly dynamic body of panelists.
Right, yeah. And, we have some categories you'll expect and some categories you might not expect.
Right. And one of the main things is to celebrate our past season, not to celebrate ourselves, as you said, but to celebrate the work that we discussed and some of the highlights of the shows that we discussed this year.
That's right. So I guess we should just get into these awards here.
I think we should. In what order should we take this here? I noticed the Blue Ribbon Commission, I don't think they had a deliberate order when they presented us this list.
Definitely the two at the top are usually ones that we save for the end.
Yeah. You know what? Why don't we start with the one of the new categories?
The third one there?
Yeah, I think that would be a good beginning.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and read those nominees?
This is for Outstanding Guest Star. And we decided it would be a good thing this year to celebrate, not necessarily the leading players, but we had such a rich array of guest star talent in this season, I think, that it seemed appropriate to establish a new category. And so this is the first time we're making a separate distinction for an Outstanding Guest Star. And I will remind everybody, although it will become quickly apparent when I read the nominees, that males and females are both eligible in this award. Okay, with that said, this year's BATTY nominees for Outstanding Guest Star are Aaron Gray for BJ and the Bear, Hugh O'Brien from Charlie's Angels, Lorne Green from the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries, Paul Williams, also from the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries, Dennis Franz from Hill Street Blues, and Christopher Lloyd from Best of the West, who, of course, was in our Forgotten Sitcoms episode. Okay, those are the nominees, and now these awards are not predetermined.
No.
We're going to determine a winner.
Yes. I'm going to start the timer. Not that we often stick to the timer, and sure enough, I'll have trouble stopping it. But so we're setting the timer for 5 minutes. We might come to a conclusion before that.
Yes.
Here we go.
It's amazing that you did that without use of physical being.
Yeah.
You were able to activate a timer.
Yeah.
Using
kind of
some
cocked
mental
an eyebrow.
projection. Yeah, I think you're getting the hang of this.
I hope so.
Okay, I think we may have inadvertently given ourselves one of the most difficult categories to start with.
This is a who's who of Battle of the Network shows favorites.
That's true, yes.
Returning favorites, new favorites.
I mean, it's hard even to eliminate anybody off the bat. Traditionally we sort of go through and maybe weed out some of the less spectacular nominees, but every one of these here could be a winner.
Yeah. I have 3 that are top tier for me.
Oh yeah?
Based on their performances in those episodes.
Yeah, I think in order to do this, I think we're gonna have to drill down to how as specific as possible with the episode.
Yeah.
Or it'll be impossible. Okay, who are you thinking?
For me, the 3 are Lauren Green, Dennis Franz, and Christopher Lloyd.
Okay, those are good choices. Those are good choices. Boy.
And I hate to do that to Aaron Gray or Hugh O'Brien to say they're second tier.
Well, as much as we enjoyed their work, I think I would agree that they weren't as memorable in these ones through no fault of their own as they were in past episodes that we've talked about. So I'm fine with leaving them out for now.
Okay.
It's tough for me to eliminate Paul Williams, though.
I know you love Paul Williams.
I mean, I think I'd be sweating right now at the thought of doing that if I weren't in a astral form right now. So, I mean, if I had to choose who was more memorable in that episode, it would be tough for me to choose between Lauren Green and Paul Williams. However, I will say that Christopher Lloyd, I think, was great. We both enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Dennis Franz really, almost stole the whole episode.
Right, and it, star-making beginnings of his career there.
Yeah, I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
I really do. And Lauren Green did show a lot of versatility. Mm-hmm. He did some things we haven't seen him do before or since.
And he played unhinged in a very understated way at the end.
He did. He was a real asset to the episode. Personally, I'll tell you who jumps out to me. It's Christopher Lloyd. He was that character was great. He was in other episodes, really dominated the episode. Dennis Franz was great in what we watched, but because Hill Street Blues is such an ensemble, it might have been a little bit harder for him to stand out. And this isn't anything against the others, but my early favorite would have to be Christopher Lloyd.
I kind of am leaning towards him, too.
I mean, you make a good point about Dennis Franz and how pivotal that role was for him.
Right.
But if I'm looking at just the show itself, I think what stands out to me in this category is the performance of Christopher Lloyd, who pretty much had me laughing and was effective every scene he was in.
Yeah. Yeah, just classic Christopher Lloyd, but different enough from Reverend Jim or other characters.
Right. I think he
Doc
did,
Brown or whatever.
Yeah, he did everything you would hope that Christopher Lloyd would do, but not without duplicating other performances, I think.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily as easy as it sounds.
Right.
Really, it wasn't even easy for me to say it just now. But I think I got what I meant to say. But
and that character is interesting because he's both menacing and not.
Yes.
Like he's trying not to be.
Right.
But he still is just a little bit.
Right. He's not irredeemable, but there's that edge to the character who's the Calico Kid.
Yes.
We should mention.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend that episode, any of the ones he's in. Yeah, my vote would be Christopher Lloyd.
I'll second that vote.
All right. Well, then the outstanding guest star, the first ever that we give out, this baddie goes to Christopher Lloyd. Congratulations.
Before the timer went off.
Wow.
We're off to an auspicious start.
That might be the biggest upset yet. and in baddie history.
Yeah.
And Paul Williams, don't worry. You might turn up again later.
I can't imagine that he would be in any other shows from his era.
No.
I mean, what are the odds of finding another one with him in it?
Yes, we'll see what happens later in the show, but I think we're off to a good start there and feel good about that one. The Calico Kid, justly rewarded for his performance.
All right. Well, should we just go on to the next one on the list there?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Please do the honors.
All right. This one is always a favorite. Outstanding performance as oneself. So, the nominees are Johnny Cash, Ray Charles, Peter Lawford, Freddie Fender, and Melba Montgomery. Just to be clear, Johnny Cash, Freddie Fender, Melba Montgomery are all from Hee Haw, and Ray Charles from Saturday Night Live, and Peter Lawford's voice from the Jeffersons.
Yes.
Interesting category.
It is. It is. Dominated by the variety show, as you can see this year. In the past, we've had talk shows, and we've had some quote-unquote civilians in the category. This time, we've got legitimate celebrities.
Yeah.
And, of course, dominated by the musicians. Well, my initial thought is I would have to eliminate Melba Montgomery. She did a good job in her musical spot in Hee Haw, but I don't think she quite compares with the other ones in this one.
Yeah, I agree. And other than the musical part, she didn't really contribute much to that episode.
Excellent.
If I remember.
Excellent. She was just there for the music, which was fine, but some of these other ones, showed a little bit more versatility.
Yeah. I love that Peter Lawford is nominated, but I'm not sure. I mean, if this category were weirdest roles by well-known celebrities, he might win.
Right, yeah. And it was a good punchline in the show, and in the the Jeffersons episode, it worked very well, but this would be the equivalent of somebody winning an Academy Award for like an 18-second part or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think I'd feel comfortable giving him the award either.
To me, the standouts are Johnny Cash and Ray Charles.
I agree. For some of the, as you alluded to, they performed music, they were in comedy.
Yeah.
So I would eliminate Freddie Fender, too.
Yeah.
Okay. So between two musical legends, then, for this...
That's tough. Who had the better biopic?
Well, let's see.
They were different years, right? But
I think they were, yeah. Ray
within a year of each other, yeah.
Yeah, they came out very close. I think I had some issues with each one of those biopics, to be honest.
I don't think I've seen all of Ray ever, but no. To me, I'm leaning Ray Charles though, because he was so integrated into that whole episode.
He really was.
It was really built around him.
It was, yeah. And as much as we delighted in the fact that Johnny Cash was integrating himself into Hee Haw, it was kind of the other way around. Like, they built the show around Ray Charles for Saturday Night Live without any damage to the show itself. I think that's a good distinction to make. We both loved Johnny Cash, and he was funny, and there was kind of some novelty of seeing him in the cornfield.
Right.
And the songs were good, but again, and we kind of got into the whole musical performance kind of controversy.
The questions.
Ray Charles was unquestionably doing it live, too.
Yes. And he was like a virtual Ray Charles anthology. We got all sorts of different versions of Ray Charles music.
Right.
We got this sort of big, slightly cheesy sound. Mm-hmm. We got, those classic R&B hits. We got the medley with the jamming and all of that. And, and he, of course, had fun with his own persona, but also had fun with sort of always one-upping everyone.
Right. And all the while, I totally believed that he was Ray Charles, which you always have to give a guy credit for that. I never once thought he was Jamie Foxx. No. Which is good.
That's good.
Is Jamie Foxx finally done playing that Ray Charles, by the way? I think he's gotten that out of his system.
I think so. I don't know what he's up to.
There was a while there that I was worried that he was going to turn into like Hal Holbrook as Mark Twain and just do that for the rest of his life. Yeah.
He's moved on to just being in the tabloids a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Joaquin Phoenix has moved on for playing Johnny Cash.
Yes, Joaquin Phoenix. I think I've seen Joaquin Phoenix a few times in this Astral Plane, now that you mention it. I'm not sure where he is. I'm more sure of Jamie Foxx's whereabouts at any given moment than I am Joaquin Phoenix, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Well, I think we're both agreeing on this one, huh? Ray Charles it is?
I think so, Ray Charles, yeah.
Yeah, he was outstanding.
Yeah.
Good job, Ray.
We beat the timer again.
Yeah, well, which is funny because I really have much less sense of time here in this Astral Plane.
I don't think time exists here.
Yeah.
So it's weird that a timer can even work.
Yeah, I certainly can't explain
now,
that.
It's easy to pay attention to because the iPad is projecting it in 5 dimensions. So, it's very large. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the 5th dimension. I wonder if they'll show up on Battle of the Network shows.
I wouldn't be surprised. Right. I think we should make that a challenge of ours to get them in very sooner than later.
Right. All right. On to the next category. Another favorite.
Yeah, this is another one of our traditional faves. Every year or every season, we like to commemorate the outstanding performance by a youth. And as usual, we have some interesting candidates here. And that starts with Mino Palouse from Best of the West.
Already a winner.
Yes, that's right. Returning. Euchariah from the Grinch's Halloween special.
Yeah. Halloween is Grinch Night.
Halloween is Grinch Night, thank you. Sean Cassidy from the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries. And also his co-star, Pamela Sue Martin, who, of course, was Nancy Drew in the same series and the same episode that we discussed here on the podcast. For Utes, and what do you think, Mike?
Well, it's not as strong a category as it has been in some years. No fault to the youths.
No.
In general.
Yeah.
But just less youth-oriented shows this time.
Yeah. And no offense to our coveted 2 to 10-year-old demographic.
11.
2 to 11, yes.
Yeah.
We love you. And
right. It seems like this would still cover them, because I imagine that a lot of 11-year-olds were maybe into the Hardy Boys.
I think
that phenom.
Yes, I think
the
that's
Sean Cassidy phenom. So
absolutely the case.
Now, Mino, of course, as we said, he won previously for Voyagers.
Mm-hmm.
And we love him. Don't know that he didn't have quite as much to do in Best of the West.
He didn't. Certainly not in this particular episode that we discussed.
But in the episodes I saw, he was very good at that kind of comedy too.
Yeah, his character is very sharp. Definitely often the smartest person in the world.
Right.
But not annoyingly so like some of the other child stars of the era.
Yeah. Euchariah, also very smart.
He is indeed, yes.
I would leave him on the list. I mean, he's a heroic figure.
He is. He accomplishes quite a bit.
You know, he goes to his own astral plane briefly and is kind of freaked out.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
As for Sean Cassidy or Pamela Sue Martin, if I had to pick one of those, I would probably pick Pamela Sue Martin, but I'm not sure why. It might just be because I thought Sean Cassidy's musical performances were a little lacking.
I have a pretty good idea why I would pick Pamela Sue Martin in general over Sean Cassidy, but
what?
So you're saying though that
in terms of giving an award,
one of the main reasons that some people might be inclined to vote for Sean Cassidy,
yes,
the fact that he sang and acted,
right?
You don't take much stock in it because you weren't as impressed with the musical performance. Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. I would tend to agree with you there, and I think Pamela Sue Martin had better moments in other episodes I've seen of that show. And in this one, unfortunately, it was more for her. That episode was more about the guest stars and more about that setting up that kind of odd relationship. It seemed like they were building something between her and Frank.
Frank,
yeah, Parker Stevenson, who sadly was not nominated.
I didn't think he qualified as youth.
Yeah.
Although if she was getting in a relationship with him, potentially, then I guess he should.
Yeah.
But
well,
he can only pick one Hardy Boy.
He wouldn't have gotten the award, I think it's fair to say. So, yeah, I think I'd go with, I think I would probably eliminate both of them. I think they kind of cancel each other out here.
So, does that just leave us with Euchariah then, by default? Or are you still...
I'm not necessarily willing to. I think when we started this, I was leaning towards Mino for the reason that Euchariah hadn't stood out to me as much in retrospect.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways I look at these is like later as we contemplate and look back, and there's lots of time for contemplation or lots of opportunity, I should say, for meditation and reflection in this particular setting we're at here, Mike.
Right.
Euchariah didn't really stand out, but you mentioned some good things, and the point about his little out-of-body experience, that does remind me of what he did. I mean, he accomplished a lot.
Mm-hmm. He saved Whoville.
He really did. I think that deserves some credit. So I'm kind of coming around to him a little bit more.
Do we know who played Euchariah? Do we remember?
I believe that his name is Gary Parsons.
Oh. That doesn't help.
Doesn't have much impact, does it?
Did Euchariah sing? He didn't sing, did he? I know there were songs, but I don't know if he had a song.
No, but he did make use of an outhouse.
Oh, that's right.
So
the euphemism.
Yes. So I kind of, for introducing that to a television cartoon, I kind of put that in his favor.
Yeah. I believe he didn't make it to the euphemism, though.
He didn't.
He was on his way, and and there's another thing. He apparently held it for
the whole time. This whole adventure.
Right. As far as we could tell, yeah.
Well, you know what? You may have just put him over the top with that. That's pretty impressive. I know what it's like to try to accomplish something at work, in a professional setting, or any other setting when you haven't been able to make it to the euphemism.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes his performance all the more impressive. I think I'm willing to give this one to Euchariah.
All right. I don't like not giving Mino an award, but we already also didn't give awards to Aaron Gray and Hugh O'Brien.
Yeah.
So you can't win every time.
Right. I mean,
What do you think, Mino? You're just going to win every time?
Yeah.
I know you were on every show, but
Right.
come on.
Yeah.
No,
There's every reason to think he'll be nominated again before long. I'm sure he'll turn up again.
yeah.
Unless we move into the 90s and aughts and totally break the
yeah.
format of the show, we'll see Mino again, I'm sure.
Right.
Well, congratulations, Euchariah.
Yeah.
You saved Halloween, you saved Whoville, and
Wow.
you won a Batty. What a trifecta.
That is impressive.
Yeah, it sure is.
And you held it for...
Yeah, most impressive of all.
Right. All right. Well, we're racing through these here. The next category, outstanding performance by a non-human.
This is always one of my favorites.
This is a very broad category.
It is.
As you'll see. So the nominees are The Grinch from Halloween is Grinch Night, Max from Halloween is Grinch Night, Bear from BJ and the Bear, The Wooden Plank from the Waltons, and Tuttle from MASH. Oh.
What a diverse list of nominees that is.
Yeah. There was some, I know the Blue Ribbon panel had a very long deliberation about this because a good half of them believed Tuttle was an actual person. They had to rewatch the episode a few times.
Yeah. That's certainly understandable.
Alan Alda had to come in and explain it to them.
Yeah. Well, that's an understandable situation there, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to have Tuttle on our list.
And it was weird, too, because Tuttle was on the committee.
Yeah, that did make it all the more striking. But
Yeah.
well, it's hard to know where to begin here.
Yeah.
I think perhaps maybe one of the least notable at first glance is Max. Yet he won us over with his courage and ultimately his independence and his assertiveness.
Right.
You know, a loyal sidekick for years to the Grinch, but
Yeah.
ultimately not always willing to go along with him.
That's right. There's still that question of, is he Max or is he an ancestor of Max or a descendant of Max? But
Yeah. I don't want to name any
that
names.
doesn't take away from his Max.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody, but I believe there's a whisper campaign started by one of these other nominees,
What?
one of the most devious ones in there, indicating that perhaps the fact that there's that controversy should disqualify him from winning a Batty. Now, I don't really take much stock in that, but I just want to point out that it's in there and we're aware of it.
Interesting. Wouldn't that controversy possibly affect that other character, though?
Well, it might. That's why
I'm assuming what character it is, but it would affect another character on this list because that's a question: is that the same Grinch?
Well, I was being very careful not to name any names because I wasn't 100% sure who started it, but yes, I would like to eliminate the Grinch.
You would like to?
Well, actually, though, there was that debate over the Grinch, and I
Yeah.
think the Grinch was a little ambiguous in this one.
Yeah.
And I think the confusion over his status kind of hurts him a little bit in this particular category.
Yes. I think if his eyebrows were nominated on their own, maybe.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, your eyebrows right now are in the Astral Plane are behaving a lot like his.
Is that so?
They're just flying around.
Yeah. I didn't even notice.
It's a little disconcerting. But,
I'll try to control myself.
yeah, if you can get that under control. That would
Yeah.
be good.
That's the same thing they used to say to Tom Snyder in between segments.
Could you just get him a little under control? And my eyebrows. Yeah, I'm fine with eliminating the Grinch. And of course, it's not the Grinch we're necessarily used to.
Yeah, the Grinch from the Christmas special would be a heavyweight in any category, but this was slightly different Grinch. So.
Right. Now, maybe we're shriveling up his heart again by not giving him an award. On the other hand, I'm not going to be held hostage by his emotional state.
Yeah.
In this award ceremony.
Yeah, I agree. We've got to do what's best for the baddies.
Yeah.
Not for the Grinch.
I apologize to Whoville, but you guys understand.
Yeah, they might suffer the consequences, but
yeah,
I feel it's worth that risk.
And they'll still be cheerful.
Yeah.
That's just how they are.
They are. Well, they got, Euchariah's Batty has probably cheered them up quite a bit.
Yeah.
They got a whole new reason to celebrate now.
That's right. So Max is still on the table.
Leave him on the table, maybe on the precipice, maybe on the edge of it. But
how about the Bear from BJ and the Bear? I like chimpanzees.
Yeah, don't we all?
I don't remember him. Well, he did have that one scene where he's hanging out the bar with the girl.
Yeah.
That's the only scene I really remember.
Yeah.
Where he was, had an effect on anything.
Yeah. I mean, really.
I don't really.
Bear is often. It seems like Bear is more window dressing than I thought.
Yes.
He's not as important a part of the show as I would have expected.
Unless one of the 2 or 3 episodes where he got kidnapped.
Yeah.
Or chimp-capped.
Right.
Chimp-napped.
Chimp-napped.
Yeah. But then he's still just being used as a plot device.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why he was there, other than trends.
Yeah. Yeah, this and the episode we talked about, he didn't distinguish himself so much.
No.
I don't like to get this detailed, but a few of his line ratings were a little off, I thought. Granted, it's a Glenn Larson production. They were probably trying to work quickly, but...
Yeah, I don't even think he got to, like, blow a raspberry at anybody.
I don't think he did in that episode, no. So you're saying you'd go ahead and eliminate Bear?
I'm sorry, Bear.
Okay. Hopefully he doesn't hear this either.
No.
I'm more scared of him than I am the Grinch, actually.
And then we have the wooden plank from the Waltons, and just to remind people, that's the plank that flew off the saw and hit John Boy in the head.
Yeah, when they were gathering lumber.
Right. Gave him a blood clot in his brain or whatever it was.
Yeah, it totally concussed him and debilitated him for the rest of the episode, really. Almost kept him out of college.
Yep.
Now, you could argue that this particular piece of wood was also a plot device. But what a plot device.
Yeah.
And really flawless in that scene.
Right.
You know, able to distinguish itself from a pile of similar-looking pieces of wood, other planks, but really kind of went for the brass ring and got it, I would say.
Did some heavy-duty stunt work.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think it probably did get cut a little bit.
Yeah.
It was going through the saw when it happened. And then
right.
To fly and hit him right in the... bonk him right in the head.
Yeah, right in the mush.
Yeah.
Now, which do you think is a harder struggle? Going through an entire episode without using the euphemism, or being sawed in half, pretty much? I mean, because if we're going to give credit for physical feats of endurance and courage, I don't know. This wooden plank gets some credit, too.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's debate about this in the real world, but I've seen some plant spirits floating around here.
Oh.
Suggesting to me that plants are sentient beings.
That makes me look at this in a different way.
And I was having this discussion with someone the other day, like kind of about the food, the whole natural food cycle and all of that. And we realized that, of course, plants are eating decomposed animals and things eventually as part of their nutrient, getting nutrients from the soil that comes from all that. So, should we, even if they have some sort of soul, should we feel bad for them? I mean, they're going to eat us eventually. Yeah. So maybe it's just part of the cycle. I don't know. Your consciousness is truly being changed by this little excursion. I'm impressed. Third eye opening. Yeah. Wow. I don't know what that has to do with this, though. Yeah. Does that mean it suffered actual pain, I guess? Well, it probably... I don't know if it could have suffered as much pain as John Boy, although at least the impact on him was quick and sudden, and he probably didn't feel all that much. I wonder if you'd have to go back and check. It would be hard to tell if that piece of wood was lying around later when John Sr., was smashing stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. I don't think he specifically focused on that plank. No. It might have just later he picked it up. And once he fixes the saw. Yeah. Just finish sawing it. Yeah. That's, he still had a job to do. Yeah. What state is a plank in once it's already been hewn from a tree? Right. Is it even alive then? I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of worried now. Like, what if a plank here in this astral plane, if a virtual plank comes and hits us in the head, am I going to get a astral concussion? You could, or you could just leave the astral plane and wake up. Oh, well, I don't want that. We gotta finish the show here. I guess I'll be careful. Yeah, to keep an eye out for planks. Yeah. They're a wily bunch. Yeah. I guess I don't know how I feel about the plank, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Exactly, yes. It's my favorite nominee in the sense that it was on the list at all. But not necessarily deserving of an award. I don't know. It was a very small role. It was. Small but effective, but... pivotal. Yeah. Now, Tuttle, on the other hand. Boy, Tuttle... What a great about a plot device. I mean... Yeah. What a... In addition to being a great guy, Tuttle carried this whole episode of MASH. He really did. And that was the name of the episode, right? Tuttle is the name of the episode that we discussed in our season opener. Right. And the Waltons one was the wooden plank that hit John Boy in the head, right? Exactly. On Thanksgiving. Parts 1 and 2. Yeah. Yeah, Tuttle, we don't even... Well, we know what he maybe looks like, but for not appearing in the episode, he played a big role in the episode.
Yeah, I think in a way, the more I think about it, Tuttle is uniquely suited for this setting where we're doing the baddies because he is all things and yet he is no things.
Yes.
At the same time.
Oh, your consciousness is opening up too.
I think maybe it is.
Yeah. Ooh.
So, I mean, we eliminated the Plank and Max and the Grinch. Or no, we eliminated Bear.
Bear, yeah.
So we've got Max and maybe Tuttle.
Maybe I'm leaning Tuttle.
Yeah.
I saw him at breakfast yesterday.
You did?
No. Wait.
Well, I'm remembering all those times we saw Tuttle in that episode. And he really stood out. You know?
Yeah.
It was just, top notch. Really A+ performance.
Really? He could have won an Emmy.
Yeah, he really could have.
Yeah.
I can't think of enough good things to say about Tuttle as I keep thinking about it.
And he's promised to give his award money to an orphanage.
Oh, is that so? I can't help but be influenced by that.
Right, and his award money comes out to about the same as his. There's as much award money as there is Tuttle.
Yeah, that's true.
If you catch my drift.
Yes, and his residuals for the episode too.
Right. Yeah.
He was in the credits, I believe.
Yes,
he did get full credit, did he?
As himself.
Yes. I think that's enough of a reason. Just the fact that he's got his official IMDb credit and maybe a SAG card. I think I would vote for Tuttle.
All right.
Congratulations, Tuttle.
Wow.
Are you going to give him the award, or should I? Or
I think we need Hawkeye to give a speech.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. We'll find it. Yeah. Very good idea. Very good.
Wow.
Well, are we moving on to outstanding hair?
Yes.
I believe, and I think it's my turn to read the nominees here. Mm-hmm. And say this every time, but another distinguished group here. We have Farrah Fawcett from Charlie's Angels, Jaclyn Smith, also from Charlie's Angels, Buck Owens from Hee-Haw, Peter Hooton from Doctor Strange, and Paul Williams from the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries.
Oh, he's got another chance.
Yeah, outstanding hair.
Wow.
Interesting that Paul Williams is in this category.
Yeah. Let's
just
very quickly go through the hairstyles of each person.
Yes.
So Farrah Fawcett is the famous feathered blonde hair, the hairstyle that set the 70s on fire.
It did, yeah.
Jaclyn Smith is a more natural, straight brown hair.
Mm-hmm.
Buck Owens is a blonde, sort of semi-pompadour, possibly not real.
Yeah, there's a... yes.
Question marks. Peter Hooton had a curly hair, possibly a man perm, but I'm not sure.
Very of its era hairstyle.
Yes, yeah. And Paul Williams, of course, has the classic blonde sort of mop top.
Yeah, excellent way of describing it.
So that's a lot of variety there.
Sure is. Something for everybody, I think.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Well, I think we have to address the elephant in the room, the fact that there was some controversy over Buck Owens' hair.
Right. I tried not to name his name in that episode, but it
was certainly a great topic for discussion.
Yeah.
When we covered Hee-Haw, and I think it's worthy of being in this category. But I have problems voting for Buck Owens if there's questions about the provenance of that hair.
I do too. It's as mysterious as whether the musical performances were live or not.
Yes.
And as far as the two angels in the category, I believe on the show we both agree that we prefer Jaclyn Smith's hair to Farrah Fawcett's more iconic look. That might be controversial.
Well, I'll say this though. I mean, Jaclyn Smith is my favorite angel, and her hair is my favorite hair of the angels. But Farrah Fawcett is iconic. I mean, that's kind of a whole nother level. If I had to pick between the angels, I would probably give it to Farrah for that reason. Because I'm looking at responsible stewardship of the baddies and the integrity of the awards. I'm trying to leave my own feelings out of it here.
Oh, okay.
Now, Paul Williams, memorable.
Talk about iconic hair.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is his category.
Did any man wear bangs better than...
No, I don't think so. Well, what do you think about Peter Hooton?
Yeah, that's not quite... I don't think he's quite up there either.
He needed maybe some more depth to his hair, and maybe he would be a contender, more of a contender. But...
And, he's Doctor Strange. He needed the gray temples. It's just, that's part of the look.
Yeah, you're right.
Gray temples, mustache, purple costume. Wait, no, not the purple costume.
Yeah, no.
So...
It was a little inauthentic, you're saying.
To Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. He might be a curly-haired person naturally, so I don't want to say it's a man perm.
Right.
But it could have been a man perm.
It certainly could have been.
An unfortunate aspect of that era.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably eliminate him as well.
It sounds like that leaves us with Farrah then.
Well, that was my initial choice.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be in the position of arguing against Jacqueline Smith.
No, that's tough.
But I mean, if you are kind of on the same page there, I mean, it's the one category that nobody could beat Farrah Fawcett in the 1970s would probably be hair, regardless of anything else. I mean, that's kind of like her. It's almost like the category was meant for her to get it eventually.
Right. Okay.
And who am I to thwart destiny, even on the astral plane?
Her hair is actually coming to accept the
the
award.
What a delightful surprise!
Floating over.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah, Farrah Fawcett.
Congratulations.
Outstanding hair.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're moving on, and I've forgotten whose turn it is.
It is your turn.
Oh, okay. Good. Another favorite category here at the Baddies.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding facial hair. We have Doctor Strange, played by Peter Hooton. Parker Tillman from Best of the West. Freddie Fender from Hee Haw. Mick Belker from Hill Street Blues. Dennis Franz from Hill Street Blues. And George Jefferson from Hill Street Blues. Wait. From the Jeffersons.
Ah, boy.
All mustaches.
Yes. Not as much variety this year as we've had in past years, but still a stellar assortment of stashes, I would say.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Mike, this may be, to me, the most wide open category out there.
Okay.
There's nobody that really jumps out for better or for worse in this category. I think they're all deserving. I think I'm willing to be influenced by you or by anyone, really, because nobody really jumps out at me. And I don't mean that as a detriment to anybody.
I just got done dissing him, and I think we were a little disappointed with Doctor Strange's mustache.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It maybe underperformed a little bit compared to expectations.
And compared to all these other guys.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
It's a little less than, and compared to our imaginings that maybe someone like Hal Linden could have played him.
Yeah.
Whose mustache already won this award. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's tough. Again, his mustache looks like it's fine. Maybe it's just fine.
Yeah, maybe it's more of like a workmanlike mustache when we would have really liked a spectacular mustache like Hal Linden in this particular role.
Who's to say? If that had become a series, maybe they would have upped his mustache game.
I'd like to think maybe they would have, but
as he became Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, we can only speculate, unfortunately.
Like each time he completed a task on his road to becoming Sorcerer Supreme, his mustache would morph a little bit.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with Freddie Fender's mustache and hair combo.
Yeah, Freddie Fender was pretty good. If I may, I mean, Belker didn't have a lot to do in the episode.
That's true.
That we talked about.
Yeah.
He was more of a background presence, and the mustache also maybe a little bit more of a background presence.
Yeah. And his facial hair does include the 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay.
Sometimes.
That's good.
But I'm willing to eliminate him.
Okay.
So that leaves us with most of them still. Freddie Fender is still in the running. Parker Tillman, Leonard Fry. He's got a good cowboy or western mustache.
Yeah, almost like a western villain kind of mustache.
Yes.
It's very appropriate for the role.
Almost a twirlable mustache.
Yes.
Dennis Franz has a Dennis Franz mustache.
Of course.
George Jefferson mustache.
Yeah, I think a great mustache that's often left out of discussions of the great TV mustaches.
Yeah, as part of his attitude.
Yeah.
And we've got in those two guys, 2 classic TV partially bald guys with mustache characters.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. And the mustache is really essential, and in each episode, too. I mean, especially the second episode of the Jeffersons we looked at with the George Jefferson Museum, the mustache is really part of his bravado.
Yeah.
And his persona. And at the same time, can you imagine that Dennis Franz character causing trouble and being sort of the rogue he is without the mustache?
No.
I think the actor maybe could try to pull it off, but boy, it would be a different character.
Yeah, I think his sneer would not be as sneery.
True. And speaking of sneer, I think as I'm looking through, I mean, I really like Parker Tillman. I think I might eliminate Freddie Fender the more we talk about it. He was great, but I don't think I would put him over some of these other ones. The sneer of Parker Tillman, accentuated by the mustache, I think would definitely elevate him over Freddie Fender. Not so sure about some of these others.
I think his mustache involves more grooming than the others.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
A little more shaped.
It's definitely more stylish. Yeah. I think I think the thing is, as much as we like the performance, physically, the mustache is definitely the most notable part of Leonard Fry / Parker Tillman, whereas in Dennis Franz and George Jefferson, as you've pointed out, the mustache is a part of a bigger package. Now, whether that has any implications for how we vote, I don't know, but it's pretty tough.
It is.
I don't know. I think I might eliminate George Jefferson, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
His mustache is part of his attitude, but his attitude is where everything comes from.
It's kind of a chicken or egg thing there, yeah. And as long as there's enough doubt, maybe I would eliminate him. I mean, we have... Either way, we've got several very classic mustaches here.
Yeah.
It might come down to what your mustache preference is.
Right now, I can picture Parker Tillman's mustache more.
Yeah.
Like, it has a better silhouette.
Yeah. Yes. I think you're right.
More identifiable silhouette.
That's right. If you were identifying everyone only by their mustache, and that was the prime directive here, I think Parker Tillman would get the nod.
Well, and, in later period Dennis Franz, we know that George Costanza modeled some of his hair choices after him.
True.
But other than that one episode where they had mustaches for the summer or whatever, George didn't have a mustache.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, Homer Simpson did not emulate the mustache.
He made short sleeves.
Yeah.
With a suit, right?
That's so
or
really, we're learning that Dennis Franz was really more of a style icon than we might have expected.
Yes.
But is that enough to
Remember
give
when
his mustache?
He was on the cover of Style magazine and Vogue in the same week?
That was unprecedented.
It was.
It really was, yeah.
I hear he was a little embarrassed by it.
Yeah. He tried to downplay it.
Yeah. My vote at this point is for Parker Tillman, Leonard Fry.
I think I can go with that. I really did like that mustache. I think it was outstanding in the episode. And, in the series as well, although we're trying to focus on episodes. So I could go with that. That's good.
All right.
Yeah. Congratulations. Best of the West gets
a second award.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yes. Christopher Lloyd and Parker Tillman.
Cleaning up.
Fry. Yeah.
Oh, and Parker Tillman's going to be in the next category.
Oh, wow. We have Biggest Heel.
Boo.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe it is my turn to present these, correct?
Yes.
All right. We have Frank Burns from MASH. Ooh. Larry Linville. The Grinch, who we've discussed from Halloween is Grinch Night. The aforementioned Parker Tillman, played by Leonard Fry. Best of the West. Morgan Le Fay from Doctor Strange, played by Jessica Walter.
Keep an eye out. She might be around.
Yes, definitely good advice there. Mr. Mike from Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. And the Sheriff of Nottingham, played by Henry Pollock II on When Things Were Rotten.
Yes.
Okay, wow, these are quite a assortment of scoundrels, ne'er-do-wells, and just general heels.
Yeah.
What are your preliminary thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. I don't like that Frank Burns.
No.
Not in the sense of a nominee. I mean, since I don't like him.
Don't like him, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a perpetual thorn in the side and
yes,
annoying.
And he does fail a lot. I was about to say Morgan Le Fay kind of failed in her mission too, but that doesn't seem any reason to eliminate them.
Not necessarily,
because they keep on trying.
Yeah.
Well, she seems like she's going to keep on trying.
Right.
She never got the chance, but we just gave him an award, but Parker Tillman, he's not as much of a heel as one might think.
I think that's a good point, yeah. And especially in other episodes, it's apparent that, he's not totally heartless.
Yeah.
He's more of a rogue.
Even in this episode, he gave the Calico Kid a job.
He did. I mean, he's self-centered.
Yes.
But maybe not as much of not as inclined towards outright villainy as some of these other nominees.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that you're right there.
Yeah.
You're on point.
Of the heels on When Things Were Rotten, the sheriff is the most competent.
Mm-hmm, by far.
It does seem mean.
Yeah.
Like Prince John is just mean because he's immature.
Yeah, he's more petulant.
Yeah.
The sheriff is a little bit more nasty, I think.
Yeah. So I wouldn't eliminate him either.
No.
Mr. Mike, I don't have enough of an impression of him.
Yeah, he was in the one scene near the end of Saturday Night Live, and he kind of tried to put one over on Ray Charles.
Yeah. But
he's kind of ambiguous.
One might, in that instance, call him a stooge.
Yes, I think he was, but I think in that segment he was so thoroughly upstaged by Ray Charles that he maybe didn't leave as much of an impression as some of these others. I think I'd eliminate Mr. Mike.
Okay, we're back to the Grinch too.
Yeah, and the whole weirdness of which version of the Grinch is, or his motivations.
Right.
Why is he, going after Halloween after.
What is he up to? He's scaring everyone so he can have the run of the town.
Yeah.
To do something. Like he was going to vandalize the town or something.
Yeah.
He had that cool wagon.
He did. I try not to consider the full body of work, but I'm just having a tough time reconciling this Grinch with the Christmas Grinch. I mean, even if you look at this as a prequel, it's still kind of weird to me. I don't know. I don't think I can vote for the Grinch.
Yeah, me neither.
Not over some of these other
Sorry,
ones.
Grinch.
Yeah.
Again, maybe this can get you to the point where you can be the Grinch in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
And then you might be worthy of winning an award, except for that came out in the 60s. So.
Yeah, that'll take some creative work by our Blue Ribbon panel to get them into it.
Someday.
There's always a chance.
You got other things. You got to carve the roast beast.
Yeah. That's enough of a reward.
Yeah. So now we're down to 3, I think. Frank Burns, Morgan Le Fay, and the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah.
2 characters from mythology and Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I hate to say this because I'm starting to think that maybe I've been subject to a post-hypnotic spell.
Uh-oh.
But I'm leaning towards Morgan Le Fay because I enjoyed Jessica Walters so much in this. I thought her performance was good.
Yeah.
She really was a highlight of that movie and someone that I think we both agreed we would have liked to have seen as an ongoing nemesis for Doc Strange.
She was evil.
Yeah.
She did have feelings for Doctor Strange.
Well.
Showed some humanity, I guess.
Yeah.
And she had her vanity about her age.
True.
But she almost killed Wong.
Yeah.
She almost killed an old man.
Right.
She almost killed an unwitting woman.
Right.
She almost killed the old man twice.
That's right.
She used the unwitting woman to throw the old man off a bridge.
Right. Very devious.
She also took over the minds of cats without their consent.
Yeah.
I guess once she shape changed into a cat, but the other time she... Oh, and she almost caused a bus to run over a kid.
Yeah, and perhaps worst of all, knowing what we know about the time, seems to be launching some kind of self-help,
Yes.
kind of pompous
right.
self-help movement, which could be her biggest crime of all.
Vaguely feminist self-help, so duping people.
Well, I'm not casting aspersions on the feminism aspect of it, but
I'm more that she would take advantage of that.
Right. Yes, opportunistic.
Yes.
And it might be a mitigating factor on one hand that she has feelings for Doctor Strange, but even though he didn't win, he is a 2-time nominee tonight for hair and facial hair. Mm-hmm. So can you really blame her?
No.
So that's...
And she'd spent a long time alone, too.
Yes. I mean, actually, you laid out the case for Morgan Le Fay better than I could have, but that's pretty much what I think. Although, nothing against Frank Burns and the Sheriff. I think I would eliminate the Sheriff before Frank Burns, as Frank Burns is such a classic TV heel.
Yeah.
But a little of him goes a long way, I would say, too. Mm. Whereas Morgan Le Fay carried big stretches in the movie and never really got annoying to me, whereas Frank Burns sometimes gets what we call the classic go-away heat. Where you just kind of want him off the screen for a little bit.
That's a good point, yeah. Again, some of that's Larry Linville doing his job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'm willing to agree with you.
Okay.
I think that's a good...
Okay, and yes...
I think I laid out a good reason for your...
Yes, you did. Thank you. Are you confident that we're making this on our own free will?
No.
Neither am I.
But that just makes it more reason for her to get it.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's go. Morgan Le Fay, biggest deal.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I hope it appeases some of her vanity.
Yes, let's hope.
Yeah. All right. Oh, yes. We're up to one of my favorite categories, biggest dope.
Yes, always a standout.
Yes. So we have in the biggest dope category, Alan Fudge in Charlie's Angels, Prince John in When Things Were Rotten, the Citizens of Transylvania in Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries, Ed Lauder as the police guy in BJ and the Bear, Junior Samples on Hee-Haw, and Dan Aykroyd as Tom Snyder on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, well, some true dopes in this category, eh?
Yeah, that's enough dopes to get you put away to for 20 years.
That's right. Yes. We've got enough dopes that we could be on a different plane entirely, even without the
yes.
the spectral projection.
Right.
Well, as I look at this, and Dan Aykroyd is Tom Snyder. That was, of course, the sketch where he's interviewing Ray Charles. And
Yeah. Tom Snyder was not a dope.
No.
But this version of Tom Snyder is a little bit of a dope.
I think that's fair to say, yes. Yeah. The citizens of Transylvania were just generally clueless about what was going on, I think.
Yes. And quick to jump to conclusions.
Yes. Although, some of the assumptions may not have been entirely wrong.
There was a guy pretending to be a vampire.
Pretending?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So maybe the citizens weren't as dopey as we thought.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. I'd love to give it to the Fudgester, as you know. Alan Fudge, staple of especially the late 70s genre television.
Yes.
Excellent on Man from Atlantis and excellent in this episode. And
right, not a dope on Man from Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit of he's a dope in the sense he thought he was smarter.
Right.
He's one of those criminals who thinks he's smart enough to get away with this, and he's not.
Well, trying to put stuff over on Hugh O'Brien in any realm is kind of a dope move, really.
Right, in the non-positive way.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's enough to merit inclusion in this category, though. As good as he was, I'm not so sure that I would put him in the top tier of dopes here. Now, Ed Lauder, boy, that sheriff, always going up against BJ and
He
obsessed
makes
with
wild assumptions about people.
Yes.
Yeah, he's obsessed with things.
Like high-powered weaponry and
yes.
gadgets.
Right.
Probably at the expense of the populace, which he is supposed to serve.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Disregarding no good, nosy accountants from the city council.
Right. He just seems like dangerously dopey in the sense that like his arrogance and cluelessness is going to get people hurt.
Yeah, and overriding belief in technology.
Right. Now, Prince John, we talked about, petulant, a child, kind of more intellectually inferior.
Yes.
That sense of dope, but,
right.
not a huge part, upstaged by the people he's around, I think, fair to say. And Junior, well, Junior's part of a big ensemble, but,
yes.
God love him. He is kind of a dope, though. Maybe more of a dunce than a dope, but...
He's definitely a dunce.
But, I don't relish considering him for this, but he kind of does deserve to be in this category.
Yeah, he deserves to be in it. I would feel a little weird giving him the award.
Yeah, those are my initial thoughts. I mean, maybe a few of those I would eliminate, but what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, so we haven't eliminated any. Prince John.
I think we could probably eliminate Prince John.
Yeah.
I might eliminate Dan Aykroyd or Tom Snyder. I mean, he didn't quite rise to the level of dopery that some of the others did. It was amusing, but...
Right. Yeah, okay. I'm leaning Ed Lauder.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems a little mean to give this to Junior samples. I think maybe the citizens of Transylvania, it's kind of hard to zero in on them because they're a little bit more collective. But boy, they sure frustrated us.
Again, though, do we blame them for their hundreds of years of history of dopiness?
Yeah.
Like, not in a genetic sense, but in being passed down
right.
bad information.
Yeah.
Or what might not be bad information.
Right.
I think we speculated that they were handing pitchforks down as family heirlooms.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I would need to research them more to get more conclusions about them, but...
I wonder, if I lived in a town near that castle that apparently gets spooky fog from time to time.
Yeah.
That history is there. Would you just be inclined to believe some of it?
Yeah, I'm seeing them a little bit more sympathetically now.
Yeah. Also, so Transylvania is in Romania, correct? Mm-hmm. And at that time, Romania was it part of the Soviet bloc?
I think so, yes.
I mean, it seemed like everyone is able to get there very easily. So it might have been the Soviet bloc light.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like a wall there, but they were in the sphere.
Right. So that could have limited their influence from the outside world.
Good point.
Maybe they only had Dracula movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently they didn't have access to Battlestar Galactica.
No. Or Alpo commercials.
Yeah, we know that, yeah. Well, I agree with you. I don't think I would give it to the Fudgester either. Yeah. He had that memorable... tussle with Jacqueline Smith.
Yeah.
And that's actually just the fact that he was kind of apparently willing to kill her.
Right.
That's more outright villainy maybe than dopiness, and
it
could have gone either way, but I would eliminate him too.
I think we should eliminate him, but the one dopey thing he did was keep a calendar of all of this.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that was not a good move.
No,
Not a good move.
unless he had carried it on his person at all time. But
Yeah, I think I'd still probably put him as runner-up at best because the sheriff from BJ and the Bear was just such a dope.
all right.
Yeah, I think that's well deserved.
Well, that brings us to best song.
Ah, yes. We always love to talk about the music.
Yep.
And this season we had some excellent musical choices.
Don't always have that.
No, we don't. We don't. Okay, so the nominees for the Batty are "The Hell of It" by Paul Williams.
Are you gonna sing all of them?
No, I'm not. "Walk the Line" by Johnny Cash. "Wasted Days and Wasted Nights" by Freddie Fender, performed on Hee Haw, as was "Walk the Line." "What Did I Say?" Sorry, by Ray Charles.
Yes, not "What Did I Say?"
Yeah, I certainly.
Caucasians.
That's why I'm not going to sing like Ray Charles. Do I look like Jamie Foxx or something? Come on. And "That's Rock and Roll," performed by Sean Cassidy as Joe Hardy in the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries, and I didn't mention it, but the Paul Williams song, "The Hell of It," also in that same episode. So, you're a big fan of music, Mike,
Yeah.
and you always feel passionately about this category, so what are your thoughts?
I'm going to eliminate for myself "That's Rock and Roll." I had some complaints about that song before.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
There were multiple songs that could have been chosen from that episode,
Yes.
and that was one of them.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the
That
best
was
thing we could say about.
I might have chosen "Obla Di Obla Da" over that. Obviously, "Walk the Line" and "What I'd Say" are classic songs.
They sure are, yeah.
And they were good performances.
They were,
I don't
yeah.
know if they were classic. They both felt slightly different than what you're used to with those songs. But
Right.
But they're both good. There is that question again around the Hee Haw.
Yeah.
Was it live or was it Memorex?
Yeah.
But of course, you could say that those Hardy Boys songs were probably not performed live either.
No.
And then there's Freddie. So really, only one of these is definitely live. But that's not the nomination.
Yeah.
It's the best song.
Right.
But that does include the performance of the song, right?
I think
Or
so.
a feeling of this,
Yeah, like the general ambiance and how it contributes to the show.
Right. And then, the Paul Williams song is pretty cool.
It is.
And it made a number of appearances in those episodes.
It really did, yeah. Now,
This guy, that character, whatever this live special, it was like a 4-day live special.
yeah, really a marathon of music.
Non-stop music, and he would come, it seems, and play the same 3 songs
Yeah.
over and over.
Right, he prepared for this 4-day festival with
Yes.
a set list of 3 songs.
Right. Well, you just want to hear the hits. Of Paul Williams covers, no less.
Boy, I like Freddie Fender, but I like that song was maybe one of his crowning achievements, but
Yeah.
it's tough to vote for that over "Walk the Line" or "What I Say," isn't it?
Yeah, and right now I can't quite remember that song.
Okay, well let's eliminate that one then.
Okay. So that's 2 definitely gone.
My first choice was the Hell of It, of course, but I'm going to say something that may work against it.
Ooh.
Again, this is me being a steward of our great baddies tradition and being honest. The Hell of It was also in Phantom of the Paradise, the movie. Now, that may or may not count against it here.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it wasn't exclusively for it. And since this is a fictional show, you could argue that it would be better to have a song that was created especially for this episode. Not the case now.
So you're almost suggesting something like there's been recent controversy about some movies not being eligible for Oscar scores because not enough percentage of their score was original to that movie.
That you said it, not me.
That's just what I've heard. So you're saying a similar thing.
Well, I'm just saying that I'm putting it out there as something to ponder.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that makes it less of a great song or less of an effective song.
Right.
But I'm just pointing it out there that it was not originally composed for the show.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it didn't seem like Paul Williams did much of anything original for the show. He just kind of showed up and
Yes.
amped up his character a little bit and with a little touch of arrogance. And Alistair Troy, I believe, right?
Alistair Troy, that's right.
So I'm pointing that out there. My initial
Alice Troy.
Alice. It was Alice Troy.
Or it was
I think it was Alistair Troy, but
no. You thought it was Alice.
Oh yes. I thought it was Alice Troy because of Alice Cooper.
I thought. I don't remember now.
Wait a minute.
Because I thought it was supposed to be like Alice Cooper.
Well, it is.
Right.
But I don't think it was Alice Troy. I think it was
Okay.
Alistair, was it not? We'll have to get the crack research team on this. Wait a minute. Is the discussion over what I thought it was originally or what it actually was?
Yes.
I hope we can at least get one of these right.
We want to know what the right one is. I know you had it wrong.
Yes, but I think I'm pretty sure that I'm right, that I was originally wrong in the sense that it was Alice and not Alistair.
I'm gonna crack research team is on it.
Yes, passing him some.
I'm having to use my mind.
Yeah,
to
well,
contact
that's right.
them.
Normally they would like slip us an index card or something, but obviously they can't do that here, or any animate object really.
And that was in season 2.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
The first combination of the characters.
Alice and Troy.
It was Alice and Troy.
And you thought it was Alistair.
Ah, okay. I apologize. Yeah. But I knew that it was wrong that it was Alice Troy.
Yeah, it wasn't yeah.
I still think it's Alistair Troy. I haven't learned even after doing that whole episode. Boy. Man, well, in fairness to me, I am a little disoriented of, being out of my physical form for so long.
Of course. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Where were we? What was happening?
We were considering best song.
Right, and you were kind of making the argument against the hell of it.
I was presenting evidence.
Well, let's say we eliminate that one, hypothetically right now. We'll put it off to the side.
That would leave Johnny Cash and Ray Charles.
Yes, that's tough. I mean, Walk the Line is a great song.
I mean, maybe...
It might be my favorite Johnny Cash
song. If you ask people on the street to name a Johnny Cash song, 9 out of 10 might name that. Yeah, well, it could be.
Walk the Line.
Yeah. If you ask them just name one Johnny Cash song, it might be Walk the Line. Maybe his signature song.
Yeah.
But
what I'd say is like a cool, it's kind of a strange song.
Yeah.
And arrangement and stuff, but that's what makes it cool.
I mean, musically, what I say seems a little bit more complex to me.
Yeah.
And I kind of give it a little bit more credit for that. I did enjoy them both, but I did enjoy Paul Williams, though, too.
Yes.
I mean, come on. And you want to talk about musical diversity? We talked about the little ragtimey section in it, the old school feel. It was of its time and yet timeless, you might say.
Sort of.
You might.
I don't know. Again, it's hard to vote against Johnny Cash or Ray Charles.
It is, and it's hard for me personally to vote against Paul Williams, but I've already done it twice. So maybe for the hell of it, I'll do it a third time. I don't know. Well, are you...
I'm leaning what I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, but that might be a bias too, because it's the only one that's for sure a live performance.
Yeah.
And it was part of a sketch. I mean, it was interesting in that way that it had the...
That's a good point.
And we had the contrast of the what did I say?
Right. Yeah, you know what? It really was a key part of that show and the sketch, in addition to being a good song on its own. I can go along with that.
Ray Charles.
Paul Williams
a big
is 0
winner
for 3.
again.
Yeah.
Paul Williams is 0 for 3. Hair.
Guest star.
Oh yeah. All right, well, so we have outstanding male, outstanding female, instrumental theme song. Any show with an instrumental theme song is qualified for that.
Correct.
Lyric theme song.
Correct.
Same thing. And best episode and best show.
Yes. So we got some work ahead of us doing that.
These are the big categories.
Right.
I think we're going to take a short break. We're going to have our in memoriam section, and then we'll come back and finish those.
Sounds good.
In memoriam. Will Vinton, James Caron, Stan Lee, Roy Clark, Ken Berry, Donald Moffat, Penny Marshall, Daryl Dragon, Bob Einstein, Mean Gene Okerlund, Carol Channing, John Falsey, Kay Ballard.
And we're back. Hope you're not too sad from that in memoriam list.
No, let's look at it as a celebration, I think.
Yeah. And now we're going to move on to the two best theme song categories.
Often it's a real Donnybrook when we try to figure these out. These are some of the most competitive categories every single ceremony, right?
Right. And do we want to start with the lyrics one or the instrumental one?
Let's see. Why don't we start with the lyrics one?
Okay. So the shows eligible for that are BJ and the Bear, Best of the West, When Things Were Rotten, The Jeffersons, and the nominating committee decided to put Hee Haw in there too.
Minimal lyrics, but
Yes. Hee hee and ha ha.
yeah.
So it's an interesting category there.
It is. I think if we pick the most memorable, the one that's endured the most, I mean, there'd be a clear winner, but
Yes.
is it the most outstanding for our purposes? I'm not so sure. I do think we could probably eliminate Hee Haw.
I think so.
And a show filled with music, the theme song is hardly the most notable thing about it.
Right.
And
frankly, it's more memorable for seeing the animated donkey.
yes. Now, sometimes I will give some credit to extended the totality of the opening sequence.
Yeah.
But your point is well taken. Not a great song,
Yes.
in my opinion. So I would eliminate Hee Haw.
Okay. Now these other four all, in various ways, do a classic theme song job of explaining to you what the show's about.
Yes, which we love.
Yes. The Best of the West and When Things Are Rotten are pretty literal about it, but also trying to be funny
Yeah.
while they're being literal. Well, BJ and the Bear has some humor in that song, but that's not the goal of the song.
Right.
It is telling you BJ McKay's story.
Right.
Or some of it. The Jeffersons, it's a little more abstract. I mean, you could apply that song to anybody.
Yeah, it's really about social, or like upward mobility, right?
Yeah. And Sammy Davis Jr. did a cover of it. It can live beyond the show.
True.
Which maybe distinguishes it in a way. So, yeah, let's just talk about each one.
When Things Were Rotten, we talked about how Mel Brooksy that show was, and that
Yeah.
song is very Mel Brooksy.
Right.
And to me, it's not that kind of like male chorus. I'm not as big a fan of that style of music.
Yeah.
So for me, although the song is memorable in its way, and I don't really care for it that much.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, would you really want to listen to it outside the show, the opening
No.
credits? No, I don't think I would.
And it's another one where I'm having trouble remembering it right now.
Yeah.
Where Best of the West, I kind of have a clearer sense of.
Yeah, Best of the West is sort of similar, and yeah, like you said, and it was sung by Rex Allen, I believe, former singing cowboy, and so it had some credibility with that. Having said that, though, the song is funny, and like the gimmick of leading up to West and not saying it a couple of times, that's good. And I think we mentioned a mutual friend of ours remembered that part of the show. That was what he remembered most. It stood out, and I think maybe a lot of people would have the same feeling. However, I don't care for the song that I like it as a theme song, but I don't care for the song itself very much. In this category, that's usually enough to disqualify something for me.
You don't have like a upbeat cowboy song playlist? Rawhide.
Yeah, Rawhide.
Best of the West.
Yeah, Bonanza.
Bonanza, yeah.
I'm making up words to Bonanza, so that's kind of awkward when I'm singing that. But
Yeah.
no, I do not. And I don't even know if this would make the cut. It's I appreciate it, but I just don't enjoy listening to it as much as some of the others, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Just me personally.
So, yeah, I'm okay. You're saying we should eliminate that one?
Me personally, yeah, I would eliminate that.
Okay, both of those two I'm good with. So it's really is down to the Jeffersons and BJ and the Bear.
Yeah,
BJ and the Bear, we discussed the song on our episode as being weird.
it is.
It's sort of a slightly undefinable genre.
Right.
A little bit of rock, a little bit of Dixieland,
Yeah.
a little bit of something else.
And I think you might think of it as a Greg Evigan song, but he doesn't even start the song.
Right, yeah. And there's like a long part where no one's singing before the singing starts.
Right.
Again, we mentioned that on the show, but it's like a really long opening credits sequence for a show that only had one actor.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess is a money-saving technique. You don't have to make as much show.
Right. Right. And speaking of that,
Yeah,
I believe did Glenn Larson co-write the theme song?
I believe so.
Yes.
Which is money-making
Yes. Right.
opportunity. Because, of course, I'm sure that was a huge hit.
Yeah. It's hard to think.
It was a huge hit on CB radio.
Oh, of course. Yes. All over the nation. I was going to say it's hard to think of materialistic concerns in here in the Astral Plane, but
Right.
I think we should take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Now-
Although the Jeffersons song, in a way, is all about materialistic concerns.
Sure is.
One could say.
It sure isn't. Okay, I think we've narrowed it down to the two songs that I would pay to hear somebody perform. Like, I would pay to hear Greg Evigan sing the BJ and the Bear theme song.
I would pay to hear him sing it. Yeah.
And I would definitely pay to hear TV's Walona from Good Times sing the Jefferson theme song.
Yeah. I don't know if I would pay anyone else to to do the BJ and the Bear song,
No.
but I can imagine a lot of people doing a good version of the Jefferson song.
Right.
And they couldn't really go too over the top with it because she's already reached that deluxe apartment in the sky.
Yeah. The sky high.
Yeah.
Just every bit of that song, she really put with feeling.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely lean towards the Jeffersons, and
Yeah.
I don't think we'd get a lot of arguments if we gave this one to the Jeffersons.
No,
It's one of the most popular ones of all time.
Yeah, I think that's a clear.
But BJ and the Bear, the main thing it has going for it is the line about, best of all, I don't pay property tax.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth mentioning that one again, but
It is catchy.
yeah, it definitely is.
I mean, I've got that melody in my head.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the Jeffersons, though, it's a classic. It's well loved. It makes you feel good. It's spirited, and it does a perfect job of setting up the show, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
good with
Let's-
that.
The Jeffersons.
Yeah. And so next we have the theme songs without words, also known as instrumentals.
Yeah,
And would you like to read those nominees?
certainly.
We did eliminate a couple, by the way, that
Yes.
didn't seem to have.
Yeah, these two categories, there are a few shows that we covered not in these categories, but we had good reasons for that. The Blue Ribbon panel had good reasons for that. Okay, we've got MASH, Saturday Night Live, Charlie's Angels, The Waltons, Hill Street Blues, and the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries. Well, we got some big hitters. I think this might be a little bit more difficult.
This is tough. I was thinking about it sort of abstractly before, and I thought, oh, I know who the winner is. I know who it would be for me. But then you're reading these, and I'm like, oh, no, that's a good... MASH is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie's Angels is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
The Waltons is a really good theme song,
Yeah.
written by Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The Hardy Boys one is cool. Hill Street Blues is the one I thought I was going to pick, and I might still pick, but certainly a classic too. That's a tough category.
I agree, and I think of looking at those, like, one of my favorite themes from this season is the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries. I wasn't as familiar with that, and yet that's probably not the one I would consider voting for, just because the rest of the category is so tough and it's not
Yeah.
as well known. Saturday Night Live is
Oh, right.
it's not distinct. I think we can eliminate that one.
Yeah.
It was kind of a loose theme song, not all that memorable, not a big part of the show itself. MASH is certainly iconic.
Right. How could we get in the same controversy with that as we did with the Paul Williams song?
Oh, right, yeah, originally written for the movie, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, to me, the most memorable performance of the MASH theme song was when Bill Murray did it as Nick the Lounge Singer on Saturday Night Live, with...
I don't know that. I know that Star
Viet-
Wars, but...
Yeah, well, yeah, it was, I think it went something like, GIs got drafted, Viet vets got shafted, they all know the words to the theme of MASH. It was something like, they all know the words to the theme of MASH. So, might get some angry cards and letters, but me personally, I would not vote for MASH over some of the other ones. Hill Street Blues and Charlie's Angels, I would, maybe even the Waltons. I like the Waltons. Not as memorable as MASH, maybe, all things considered, but the Waltons, you can like kind of get up and bang your head to that when it comes on. It's got some power to it,
Yeah. Of those three, do all of them, would you say, help define the show? Hill Street Blues, I think, does. And we
Clearly.
talked about that credit sequence and the melancholy of it. And
Yes.
just it being kind of a perfect in a way and encapsulating the show. And Charlie's Angels, I mean, it's dramatic disco music essentially, right?
Yeah, I think if you could turn glamour into sound, that's the result. So I think that's kind of brilliant in its own way.
And was that
Was
by
that actually...
the like Charles Fox? Was that like the Love About Wonder Woman guy?
It may have been. I was thinking that might have been... That wasn't Jerry Goldsmith too, maybe?
Might have been.
Maybe not. But it definitely did define the show. Now, the Waltons, I'm not so sure.
It's dramatic.
It is, yeah. And it's a little bit... It's more Americana in general than it is, like, rural per se, which you might expect, like, more like banjo or something if you were just like, oh, the Waltons, what's the Walton song going to be like?
Alan Ferguson and Jack Elliott.
Alan Ferguson and Jack Elliott.
Alan with 2 L's and a Y.
Oh, interesting twist there. That's the Charlie's Angels composers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, he also did Barney Miller.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
Quite quite a career.
So you're saying the Waltons was Americana?
Yeah, I think it does set the table well for the show. The more I think about it, it just against Charlie's Angels and Hill Street Blues, I don't know if I could vote for it over either of those two.
Okay.
To me, it comes down to Charlie's Angels and Hill Street Blues.
Yeah.
And they're both iconic songs, kind of like that 70s and 80s, but different aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Each very effective in their own way. I mean, Hill Street Blues is one of probably the most remembered songs of all time. I mean, I think that probably charted. That might have actually charted.
I think it did,
as a single.
Yeah.
So you have to give that some credit. Personally, I like the Charlie's Angels. There's just something about that I think is good, but it's tough to go against Hill Street Blues.
I don't think I can go against Hill Street Blues.
Yeah.
I'm contractually obligated to. I don't know.
Well, as you know, in the Astral Plane,
contracts don't exist?
yes, any earthly agreement is null and void, I believe.
Oh. No, I'm still.
Okay. Well, I think I could go with Hill Street Blues.
I mean, I advocated for the Chips theme song.
Yeah.
I don't think it won, but I think I did, and so I do enjoy those kind of.
Yeah.
That 70s thing too. But,
right. It would be nice to get some disco representation in the baddies.
Yeah.
But and that would giving Charlie's Angels a baddie would be the way to do that. But it's Hill Street Blues. I mean, come on. I mean, Hill Street Blues. You kind of get depressed as soon as you hear the song. You don't even need to see the show.
Right.
I mean, it could be like the most positive. You could see, coming up on Hill Street Blues.
Yeah.
And you have the funniest scene, and then you hear that song, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. This is going to be bleak and depressing, at least for part of the show.
Right.
And that's
which
no
a lot of
small
episodes, went from a teaser joke right into that.
I think Hill Street Blues deserves the baddie.
Okay.
For best instrumental song.
Best instrumental theme song.
Yes.
Another win from Mike Post.
Yeah. He's a juggernaut.
Now we're going to move on to the actor categories.
Yes.
Back to having some nominees here.
If I may,
yes,
I would like to make the distinction that we're focusing on leads, show leads. So we have the separate category for guest stars. So in general, We're not considering guest stars for these categories.
Correct.
We're people that appear regularly on a show.
Yeah.
In general, except for one exception I see right. But you get my drift.
Yeah, the only exception I see is because there was only one episode. So in the...
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first category is Outstanding Performance by a Male.
Mm-hmm.
The nominees are Sherman Hemsley as George Jefferson, Roy Clark as Roy Clark and various other characters,
Mm-hmm.
Alan Alda as Hawkeye Pierce, Daniel J. Travanti as Frank Furillo on Hill Street Blues, Greg Evigan as B.J. McKay, and Ralph Waite as John Walton Sr. on the Waltons. That's a heck of a category, too.
Yeah, once again, our work is cut out for us. It just shows you what a rich tapestry of pop culture we discuss each episode and bet all the network shows. We have such powerhouses to consider here, and it's always a good sign when it's tough to eliminate anybody right off the bat, and I think we have kind of the case here.
Yes.
So I'll preface this by saying we're talking about great performances all around. Daniel J. Travanti, this particular episode, for our purposes, I might be less inclined to vote for him, though.
It's tough with that show, I think.
He's more like somebody, like you see him over time and he gets his moments, but in any given episode, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, and he is sort of the center of everything,
right.
Which is a difficult role.
True.
It doesn't always stand out.
Yeah. He's essential, but certainly the show is not built around him and could go on without him, probably.
Yeah, I think you could create another character like that.
Yeah.
George Jefferson and Hawkeye, they're essential to those shows.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue you could replace Hawkeye, but I don't know if you could.
Yeah.
Maybe initially you could have, but he became so... the show was really his show.
Right, and I think... you could say, what if Alan Alda left instead of Wayne Rogers, but I think the reason Wayne Rogers left was because Alan Alda had clearly become the star of the show, right?
Right.
And that wasn't a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know if MASH would have gone on as long with Wayne Rogers at the helm.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. He was definitely first among equals in the show.
What if it had been Wayne Rogers and Mike Farrell?
Yeah, that would be an interesting scenario.
Yeah. What if in a strange twist they brought in Pernell Roberts?
Yeah.
Before Trapper John MD. Yeah.
So it'd be Trapper John and Trapper John?
Yeah.
I like this. I like where this is going. This is the kind of show that could only be produced in the Astral Plane, I think.
Yes. Or a 12-year-old gonzo.
Right. Well, let's face it, Greg Evigan is a favorite of ours, of course.
He's a favorite.
We give him plenty of respect.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would vote for him in this category.
Not with those two guys.
No, I think I'd eliminate Greg Evigan too.
Yeah. Roy Clark is an all-around talent.
Mm-hmm.
Great musician.
Mm-hmm.
He was good in the comedy things.
He was. We raved about him.
Yeah, definitely essential to that show. Although I think you could replace him. Never had to, but I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the one that was the anchor until the show's end, right? Because Buck Owens left before he did, yeah.
Yeah. Ralph Waite, I certainly was heaped praise on him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's very important to that show. And
Certainly,
rounding it with an adult talent. And,
right. Certainly gives it an understated gravitas
yeah.
that the show definitely benefits from.
And good sense of humor, too.
Yeah.
But I really do think it comes down to Alda or Sherman Helmsley.
I agree, and I will say that Ralph Waite, he wouldn't be my first pick either, but I think that episode did provide a surprisingly good showcase for him because he had some comedy and some like dramatic scenes like we talked about, the discussions with his wife and everything. So, yeah, I totally agree. Sherman Helmsley, Alan Alda, kind of this is where we go from like stars and well-known stars to icons.
Yeah.
And it makes for a very difficult decision. I am definitely leaning one way, though.
I can't decide.
Really?
Yeah. What way are you?
I'm leaning towards Sherman Helmsley.
Okay.
Maybe there's some bias there because going from a show that, despite what we just said, is still technically an ensemble show and kind of intended to be in MASH, and a show that is inconceivable without the George Jefferson character. Mm-hmm. And now we talked about 2 episodes of the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
He was great in both of them, and for me personally, like I like the gimmick of the George Jefferson Museum, but really I thought that second episode especially, I wasn't as impressed by it as I was the earlier episode, but what really stood out for me was that Sherman Helmsley carried it, and every time Sherman Helmsley was on screen, there was something entertaining about it. Mm-hmm. Alan Alda is the same. I mean, he's sort of like Groucho-esque delivery, especially like in maybe some other episodes and later seasons.
Yeah.
It's also essential to the show, but to me, if you're just talking about them as TV performers and looking at those characters, George Jefferson, I could watch that in anything, whereas Hawkeye, and I think there were some things that we did see Hawkeye in that weren't as effective, and not necessarily in spite of the Alan Alda character and Hawkeye character.
So we saw the Hawkeye character.
Yes. And I mean, like in later years, the Alan Alda and Hawkeye became increasingly like a little preachy. The show shifted its focus. I think I would give that a little weight when determining the two. Whereas I think as a pure TV character, George Jefferson is the better character in my opinion, and I think that's because of Sherman Helmsley. I think if you have take out Alan Alda had Larry Gelbart famously writing for him and all these other writers. I think the shows we covered sort of proved what I think in the sense that if you give poor material to Sherman Helmsley, I think he's more capable of making it entertaining than Alan Alda is with Hawkeye. And we had a really good episode of MASH so that we didn't really have to consider that. But I think I got some evidence of how Sherman Helmsley elevates subpar material, and to me, that's why I'd give him the edge. And I just like that character more than Hawkeye.
Okay, you've swayed me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Plus, Alan Alda might get another shot. Well, I guess he could, Sherman Helmsley, if we did. Amen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because we will be revisiting MASH.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Congratulations to the late Sherman Helmsley.
Yes.
George Jefferson, outstanding male performance. Well done. All right, so now we go to the outstanding female performance. Mm-hmm. Is it my turn to read?
It is.
All right. We have from Charlie's Angels, Farrah Fawcett, already a winner tonight. Kate Jackson, again from Charlie's Angels. And the third original angel, Jacqueline Smith. From the Jeffersons, we have Wheezy Jefferson, Isabel Sanford. Previously nominated and victorious, Jessica Walter for Morgan Le Fay in the Doctor Strange telepic. And I believe it's Michael Learned, correct?
I don't know.
I think it's Michael Learned, unlike the word, for the Waltons. She was Olivia. I was going to say Mama Walton, but right. Yes, Olivia
Mama.
Walton. Yes, and dominated by the Angels, but with already established baddie winner Jessica Walter in there, I think that makes things pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Do the Angels kind of split each other a little bit?
Well,
divide their vote a little bit?
I think maybe they do. I think based on the episode, unfortunately, because she didn't have as much to do, I would eliminate Jacqueline Smith.
Right.
And I think I said I like Kate Jackson, because she had more to do, I got more of a sense of her character.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave her in for now.
I can see that.
And, I mean, I had a sense of the Farrah character, too, but I'm not sure of those.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them, it's tough. I think Olivia Walton's, it's almost the same thing as with Ralph Waite. She's this grounded character, and of course was having conflict with him, but is essential. And from what we read about later seasons when she left, that hurt the show. Is kind of essential to have these good adult characters when you have a bunch of kids running around.
Yeah.
We've already praised Jessica Walter. On the Jeffersons episode, we certainly praised Isabel Sanford. And she's sort of, she's a little bit of a straight man in a way. Sometimes a reactionary character.
Right.
But she's great in that role.
I think she's a little underrated, too, going up against Sherman Hemsley, but she's a good counterbalance and often gets in her share of zingers without being as broad as Sherman Hemsley is.
Right. And at least occasionally got an episode where she could be the silly one.
Right.
Like the Reggie Jackson episode.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is tough. You make some good comments regarding the Angels. Kate Jackson, I think she deserves special credit for pairing up with Hugh O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
And making kind of a convincing... you sort of got the sense that he was learning more about women and kind of respecting women and, especially women that aren't half his age.
Yeah.
And that was kind of convincing, and he was clearly enjoyed her company, and those two made a good on-screen team, I think. So, and I think that a lot of it is because of the credibility of her performance.
Yeah.
So, to me, I would say that she was the standout of that episode. I've already talked about Jessica Walter as Morgan Le Fay. I'm trying not to be biased by the fact that she's already won an award, but in the back of my mind, I'm kind of thinking, well, does she really need 2 awards?
In the back of my mind, I'm hearing, yes. I need 8 awards. She needs 8 awards.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. What'd you say? Who needs 8 awards?
What? What are we talking about?
I'm a little worried here. Well, I think I'd probably eliminate old Olivia Walton.
Yeah.
It was fine, and part of it was like her character. I kind of disagreed with her character's reactions in that episode. Some of what she was going on about, particularly like she was upset that
the kid was doing that.
Yeah, that Jim was it Jim Bob?
No, it was one of the other ones. Jim Bob was still pretty young.
I was hoping it was Jim Bob.
No, it was.
He was upset that he was, working for the eccentric ladies.
I think it was.
She played it convincingly, but
she did. Yeah,
that may be part of it.
Right.
Why I'm voting against her.
The scene where they had the argument was a really strong scene.
It was. It was credit to both of them. I'd rather say not that I'm voting against her, but that I'm voting for someone else. I just don't know who that is yet.
Right.
Isabel Sanford stands out the more that we talk about it, but, not as showy.
Yeah.
She was good in these episodes. I think I would keep... Personally, I'm keeping Jessica Walter alive.
Yeah.
The fact that she was maybe the most memorable thing about Doctor Strange says something, I think. It was a superhero movie, and she took kind of a non-standard comic book character, or maybe too standard in the sense that it's basically like a generic character that has appeared in...
there is a Marvel Morgan Le Fay, right? But she's more like an Avengers villain usually.
Yeah, and there's like a
DC one.
Yes. So she didn't have the advantage of playing like an established superhero Marvel character is what I'm trying to say. And she still made that character memorable.
And it had a lot of, different beats to play.
Yeah.
There was just the evil part. There was the sort of seductive part.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also the vulnerable part when she was dealing with a big giant head puppet thing.
Right.
So...
Yeah, I think as far as the Angels goes... I think not necessarily that I don't know if they're splitting their votes here because there's 3 of them in the same show so much as that they were so like sharing the screen so much that like if any one of them had like a spotlight episode that we talked about, it seems like it would be easier to vote for them, I think.
Yeah.
And Wheezy Jefferson, solid, but didn't stand out as much to me. I think I'm leaning Jessica Walter.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm drifting off again.
Yeah, I noticed you kind of had a... I think you kind of looked away from me, and I think you maybe lost your bearings there a minute.
You might have noticed I didn't blink for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was very disconcerting.
Yeah, Peter Hooten, sure. No, I think that's a good decision.
I think that's legit.
She did what she was asked to do.
She sure did.
With a plum.
Yes. With Eve Plum? She was in that movie too?
Oh, a plum.
Oh, sorry.
With a plum. She had I don't know if you noticed it.
Yeah.
It's a Jessica Walter trademark. She has a plum in every scene.
And hence the purple suit for Doctor Strange too.
Yes.
It all makes sense.
She was like squeezing plum juice.
It all ties together.
And No other person in this category certainly had laser fights.
You know what? There you go. Let me double check. No, you're right. I think we can verify that.
Or
It would
whatever
have
we're
helped
going to call
Jacqueline
that.
Smith to have a laser going up against the Fudgster in their combat scene.
That would have been cool.
But alas, it did not happen. So
Yeah. I hope at some point in her career she got to shoot a laser somehow.
Jacqueline Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, she should have been
A
in
ray
some kind of,
gun or something.
yeah, some kind of cheap sci-fi movie set in the future.
Yeah. In the sexy future.
Exactly. Well,
So we have a
congrats.
winner? Yeah.
Two-time Batty winner, Jessica Walter.
Wow.
Puts her in some elite company.
Yes. So and that leaves us with the other two tough categories. And then, of course, the Genius Award.
Yes.
We have Best Episode, which we always have to be clear on, is the best single episode of one of the shows we talked about, not the best episode of the podcast.
Yes, we always have to be clear on that because there's always people asking us, hey, are you guys going to talk about the best? No, we appreciate that.
Right. We're not into self-congratulation here.
I do think if we make it out of this astral plane and intact
Yeah.
after all this time, we should get some kind of award. But
Maybe an egg cream.
yeah, I'd be more than happy with an egg cream after this, for sure. So yes,
Once again, read the whole list of everything. Everything is eligible. There's BJ and the Bear, Best of the West, When Things Were Rotten, MASH, Hee Haw, Saturday Night Live, Charlie's Angels, The Waltons, Jeffersons. Technically, there are 2 episodes eligible for the Best Episode category. Hill Street Blues, Halloween is Grinch Night, Doctor Strange, and The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries.
and also technically we had 2 Hee Haw episodes as well, correct?
Oh, we did, didn't we?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Freddie Fender
and Melba Montgomery.
were on a different episode.
Yes, than Johnny Cash.
And what was her name?
Uh,
LaFonda.
oh, right. Yes, I don't remember. Well, she was not nominated.
Tanya
for,
Tucker's sister.
Yes, yeah, that's her name. Exactly. There you go. Now, having said that, I don't know if I would consider either of those Hee Haw episodes in this category.
No.
So I think we can eliminate Hee Haw.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that, I mean, I think that's what we should do, Mike. I think we should kind of knock off some of the ones that we're not going to consider, and then we can kind of...
Okay. So you said Hee Haw.
Yes, I would eliminate Hee Haw, both episodes. I would
Okay.
eliminate the When Things Were Rotten. I would eliminate Halloween is Grinch Night.
Okay.
Again, folks, we're not criticizing these. We're just saying that they're not quite up to the standards of some of the others.
Yeah.
I would probably eliminate the Hardy Boys Nancy Drew Mysteries. I enjoyed it, but I liked some other things much better.
Okay.
And I think maybe those are some of the ones that I would have suspected maybe you would have eliminated too.
That sounds right. Eliminating Hardy Boys, Grinch, Hee Haw, When Things Are Rotten.
Mm-hmm.
Was there another one?
I don't think there was another one, but I could probably eliminate BJ and the Bear.
Okay. I'm going to say something controversial for me.
Oh.
Hill Street Blues.
What?
Given the nature of that show, it's tough to say an outstanding episode because it's not episodic.
Okay. I won't argue with that. I think you're right.
That hurts.
Yeah.
But, there's another category.
True. I would eliminate, as much as I enjoyed the Jeffersons, I've already said that I didn't care as much for that second episode especially. So, was it
The museum one?
Man of the Year or something, or Man of the Hour or something like that? The name of the episode. But it was the one where he creates the George Jefferson Museum.
Yeah.
I would eliminate that one, and I would probably eliminate the other episode we talked about too, about Lionel and Jenny's, or
The Case of Black and White.
Yes, Case of Black and White.
Okay. So both. I could see that.
I think so.
If I were going to pick one, it would be the Case of Black and White.
Yeah, I agree. That narrows it down a little bit.
Yeah, that leaves us with MASH, SNL, Best of the West, MASH, SNL, Charlie's Angels, The Waltons. That's it.
Yeah. Should we eliminate Charlie's Angels?
Yeah.
Much as, we enjoyed parts of it, it wasn't as great an episode of TV as some of these other ones.
Yeah, it wasn't outstanding.
Yeah.
Really good episode of MASH.
It was, yeah.
Really good episode of SNL.
Yeah.
And really good episode of The Waltons. I mean, it made me want to watch The Waltons more.
Yeah. It was a solid episode. Probably eliminate the Waltons of the ones that are left.
Oh, and I keep ignoring Best of the West. Great episode of Best of the West.
It was, yeah. I think, if we go by the standard of, and it's kind of easier for sitcoms, I think, but if we go by this, the standard of what would you like today, what would you rather watch again? Yeah. I would probably go with the sitcoms.
Uh-huh.
Maybe even over the Saturday Night Live, as good as that was overall.
Yeah.
I think as pure entertainment of the ones we're talking about here, I enjoyed the Best of the West episode most. I think that was the funniest of everything there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a classic episode of MASH, which is, one of the most popular shows of all time.
Right.
I think showed off a lot of what the series had to offer. And SNL, that was very well done too. And I think we both agree that was just really firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
As far as like using the host, combining music, just really good use of the variety host kind of format. So yeah, the Waltons was good, but I think certain elements of the Waltons were better than others. Like some of the storylines weren't quite as effective as other ones.
Right.
So that would be a little bit of a notch against it, whereas some of these other ones I think were more consistent.
Okay. I can agree with that. None of the other ones had a school play subplot.
True. That is true.
So it's down to 3.
SNL, MASH, and Best of the West?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, in a way, it's a victory for Best of the West just to be here.
To a show that lasted 1 season.
Yeah.
Up against 2 monster hits.
We raved about all 3 of these, I think.
Yeah. I kind of want to give it to the Underdog.
Yeah?
That episode of Underdog we talked about.
I must have missed an episode this season.
Oh, yeah, that was
You podcasting behind my back?
Yeah, my Underdog podcast. It's complicated.
Yeah.
I spend about 5 hours on each episode.
Yeah, and then
Each segment
Yeah.
of Underdog.
and then you release them like all in a bunch of different jumbled segments and expect people to put them together.
Yeah.
With clips from other podcasts edited in it.
Right.
Would give us an excuse to talk about Lionel Barrymore. I think to me, it would probably be between Best of the West and MASH.
Yeah.
I did like the Saturday Night Live, but overall, you can't go wrong with these 2 great sitcom episodes. And I mean, this is probably one of the best MASH episodes I've seen for sure. It's definitely a contrast. I mean, I could watch either one of those again tomorrow and probably enjoy it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Although, in fact, I know that I did watch Best of the West again when we prepared for the podcast, and I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a classic David versus Goliath here.
Mm-hmm. You know who usually wins David versus Goliath?
Who's that?
David.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Otherwise, what's the point of going on in life?
Right.
If Goliath always wins,
Yeah.
we might as well just fold it up now. We might as well just leave ourselves in this astral plane and just let our physical presences perish.
Right.
I'm a little surprised, actually, that you were that strong on Best of the Best.
I'm just thinking about it now.
It's
I mean,
a really good episode that we both we both liked.
Makes great use of a guest star, but also great use of the ensemble.
Yeah. Although you could say the same thing about MASH. Made great use of Tuttle as the guest star and made great use of the ensemble.
Right. How could I forget Tuttle's performance?
I mean,
Tuttle won an award, right?
Right. Yes, he did. I mean, I think in the past, a standard that we've used, we've talked about, is if you were going to show somebody or tell somebody the series, would this episode be a good way to? And I think it's true of either one, really. You know, that doesn't really narrow it down any.
No. Do we have to go to the random number generator?
Oh my gosh! For something this big,
I don't know if we can.
could we really determine an award this big with a random number generator? Or maybe I might want to rephrase that. Or should we determine an award this big with a random number generator? We haven't used it yet.
No, we haven't. We forgot to even mention that in the prep. That would be the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So the idea is we each have a different opinion.
Yeah.
And we're both sort of like, well, either of these.
Yeah, this is kind of like, this is uncharted territory, isn't it?
I think so.
Where we're just torn between 2 equally deserving choices. Well, you know my my hatred of ties.
As in draws, not.
Yes, not as in.
You like neckties.
Yes, I do.
Right?
I do like a good necktie.
Yeah.
But this isn't soccer.
No, it's not.
There must be a winner, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if we can't determine it, I would be fine with either one of them winning.
I would too.
I think as a show, which we can get into, I actually enjoy Best of the West more than MASH, but this is such a good episode of MASH that it's tough for me to outright give Calico Kid Returns the edge. But what do you think? Do you have a lean? Any more of a lean now?
No. Maybe we should get Tuttle to break the tie.
I think Tuttle might be a little biased, although Tuttle is a man of impeccable taste
And morals, yeah.
and integrity. Yes.
He would do what's right for the baddies.
Yes. I mean, what is right for the baddies, really?
I don't know.
Well, we're not just about celebrating what everybody else has already celebrated. We are about
That's true.
celebrating the unchampioned. We've given major awards to shows like Search.
Yes.
I think it would be totally fitting with our tradition to give this to Best of the West.
I think it would be too. And in terms of the podcast episodes, those are often our personal favorites.
Yeah.
When we can highlight a show that people don't know as well.
Right. It's a really good episode. Let's give it to Best of the West. Calico Kid Returns.
All right. Sorry, Tuttle.
Yeah. Tuttle's already a winner, though, so.
Yeah. And that brings us to Best Show.
Yes.
Same
Yes, we should clarify.
same nominees. But it's the overall
Yes.
idea of the show.
Right. But if anybody would like to nominate us for Best Podcast Award,
Yeah.
please feel free. We're not
Apparently
objecting to that at
those
all.
exist out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Potties or something like that.
Yeah, any such award. Or if
Yeah.
you'd like to just create an award and give it to us,
Sure.
we're willing to accept
A
that.
certificate.
Yeah.
Just a virtual badge we can put on something.
Yeah, be great. But let's talk about the television that we cover in
Okay. A lot of these we can probably eliminate pretty quickly. But,
okay.
Or
By some of the same
not a lot.
principles.
Yes, some of the same. Read them off again. BJ and the Bear, Best of the West, When Things Are Rotten, MASH, Hee Haw, SNL, Charlie's Angels, The Waltons, Jeffersons, Hill Street Blues, Halloween's Grinch Night, Doctor Strange, Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew.
Correct.
I think we can eliminate, as much as we kind of enjoyed it for its weirdness, Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And again, it's not a show in the same sense. It didn't survive. Not necessarily its fault. And maybe Halloween is Grinch Night, kind of by the same.
I agree. I mean, these would have to be really super excellent, really superlative productions
Yeah.
to win in a category like this, I think, to go up against things that have hundreds of episodes in some cases.
Hee Haw, I know personally I was more engaged by the music than the show itself.
Yeah, it's a fascinating part of television culture, and I'm glad we spotlighted it, but yeah, I would eliminate that too.
BJ and the Bear is goofy fun, but
Yeah, not a contender.
other than best shows about truckers with chimpanzees, it's
Yeah.
probably not really an award winner.
I agree.
When Things Are Rotten,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah, but not up to par here, not on the same level.
We can leave MASH on, I'm sure, for now.
Yeah, I think we should leave MASH in the running.
Saturday Night Live,
I would leave that in the running.
Venerable Institution, Best of the West we should leave in by virtue of just winning an award.
I agree, yeah. Let's leave that in for now.
Charlie's Angels,
Well, I think we could probably eliminate that.
Yeah.
It's fun for what it is, but not on the same level again.
Waltons,
Waltons is a fine effort. I think we were both surprised by that, but I haven't, despite intending to, I haven't really gotten into it in
haven't
reality yet. So I think I would eliminate that.
okay. Jeffersons,
I would maybe keep that around for now.
okay. Hill Street Blues,
I think we should consider that, yeah.
yeah. Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew,
Yeah, I think we can eliminate that.
okay.
So we've whittled it down to
I think,
a good handful.
yeah, I think 4. Jefferson, Hill Street Blues, Jeffersons, SNL, MASH, Best of the West.
Okay. And for Saturday Night Live, we're considering like the first 5 years, I guess, as we covered on the podcast,
Yeah.
not the whole series run.
I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of odd.
I mean, I personally have a big fondness for that, but it's so varied and it's so inconsistent. It's up and down. Like, we might have talked about that a little bit. It's more of like a fascinating cultural institution that is a great show or my favorite show. So I would eliminate that at this point, probably.
Okay. Now, what about on MASH? Are we just considering, since we're going to come back to it,
Yeah, maybe early MASH,
early MASH?
and then we'll have later MASH, and we'll never consider after MASH.
Howard.
You never
dare
know,
you.
though. You never
I'd
know.
consider after
I think
MASH.
actually I would too. Actually, if we could do after MASH and Walter in the same.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Got to
save
get
that
our hands on
for
that.
down the road.
Both of those.
I'd love to do that more than. We'll do that before we do later MASH, probably. So yeah, we're considering the how did we define it? The McLean Stevenson year? Or was it the Colonel Blake years, or was it it was
I think that was kind of
yeah
around that.
yeah.
I mean, there are multiple demarcation lines.
Right.
So.
I mean, or we could do like the Frank Burns years or something. I mean, like
You're right.
there's definitely some crossover.
Yeah, and Radar, there's crossover.
Right. Well, we're considering like the first 3 or 4 seasons of MASH, I guess.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's when the show is probably its best in some ways, but I don't know if I would. I mean, let me put it this way: since we've been doing the podcast, and there's other reasons for this, but I've been watching more Jeffersons than I have MASH. After this season, and there's some factors not relating to the show itself that affect that, I guess. But Best of the West, love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really delighted with the whole thing, and again, special thanks to friend of the show Ian for making it possible for us to consider it, and it's been a big part of the baddies.
Yeah.
Already. Hill Street Blues. I know this is a longtime favorite of yours. I don't have as much exposure to it, but I respect the show. I enjoy the show, and it's something that I've always intended to kind of watch more of. Honestly, it's not my favorite show because I just haven't seen a lot of it, but I would definitely give it credit in any discussion of a best series. I think you have to include it.
Yeah.
And it was very good at what it did. This is actually a little tougher for me than I thought, maybe.
Well, I would go MASH before Jeffersons. I think Best of the West is so short-lived that it's a little hard maybe to consider it.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen all of it. I haven't seen all of any of these. What am I saying? But I hadn't seen a lot of Hill Street Blues before we talked about it, but I did watch an entire season of it and was fully engaged by that. So I would probably lean Hill Street or MASH.
I think that's fair, and maybe I might be kind of contradicting the way I've advocated for shows in the past for this category. But to me, Hill Street Blues and MASH, I see them kind of similar in similar respects. Unlike a lot of the other stuff we talk about, I was not big watchers of either one of them when they were first on, and I haven't revisited them a whole lot in reruns either. And to me, they're just not shows that I have great affection for. So I don't really have a big lean one way or the other. And they're shows that at this point, I admire them more than love them, if that makes sense. So, but I'm not arguing against either one of them, but I don't have a strong opinion for either one of them either.
Well, there might be a reason to exclude them then.
But I think it's fair to put them included. If we're looking at the whole list, and I was thinking, well, what show did I enjoy the best out of all these? It's probably Best of the West. But I think you make. I think it's convincing. It's tough to vote for something that had 22 episodes and didn't have nearly the lasting cultural impact that many of these other shows did. The Jeffersons is funny and entertaining, but I wouldn't consider it like an A-level show. It's a very watchable B plus at its best show that is also a little inconsistent and isn't always great. I mean, in the early years it's very good, but in the later years, it wasn't necessarily great. Hill Street Blues and MASH would be top on most general critics lists. And,
right.
I mean, you couldn't go wrong with picking either one of those, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't mean this as as a backhanded endorsement for either one of those shows, but I think that's where I am when I look at these. I mean, this may be the first season that there isn't really one series that we consider that I'm really passionate about. I like these, and I think Best of the West I got most excited about because I hadn't seen it in years, and it felt like a real discovery.
Yeah.
But as far as the long-time classics, these just aren't ones that I grew up on, as opposed to a lot of the other ones we've talked about in the podcast. So that's why it's kind of a unique vote here for me.
Yeah.
And I'm really having a tough time just picking MASH or Hill Street Blues.
I mean, it doesn't have to be one of those.
I think I'd probably pick Hill Street Blues.
That's what I would pick, but
I think I'd go with Hill Street Blues, all things considered. I mean, I enjoy the show.
And it really was groundbreaking and influential.
Which we've actually talked about in 2 podcasts because we did a bonus episode about Stephen Bochco.
Right.
I think that might give it the tiebreaker for me. I mean, MASH played with form and it took risks and had a lot of unique episodes, but the long-term influence, as far as long-term influence, I think Hill Street Blues probably had more of an impact, really.
Yeah, I mean, MASH was more popular.
Yeah.
But you didn't then see a rash of sitcoms set outdoors
right.
I mean, it remained unique in that way.
Right, and I'm not sure that like having a black and white episode or things like that, I'm not sure that those kind of departures made it easier for anybody else to do the same thing. They were sort of interesting gimmicks, and I respect them for doing something different. But Hill Street Blues, I think you could probably make a direct line to a lot of different things. Yeah. Tracing back to the fact that they did it successfully. Yeah, I think I would go Hill Street Blues, Mike.
Okay, I'm good with that, obviously. And that actually is a perfect lead-in to our Robert Pine Genius Award winner.
Yes. Would you like to explain or maybe I can explain the
award,
the concept of the award, and then you can announce the winner.
Sure.
I think maybe our personal favorite award. Each time out is the Genius Award, which we've named for the great Robert Pine.
Yep.
And Robert Pine, of course, Gert Trayer on Chips, but also the star of one of the best commercials of all time, Lowenbrow.
Yes.
Go back in the archives if you haven't heard our Lowenbrow episode, and you will learn a lot about that great ad campaign and that particular spot.
Yeah.
The idea behind the Genius Award is we seek to celebrate an individual who is unheralded, would it be fair to say? Somebody that jumps out to us as this person is a creative genius, and this person deserves more attention, and this is somebody that stands out and really left a great impression on us, somebody that we're excited about and that we're glad that we really kind of discovered or emphasized, talked about a lot. So each BATTY Awards, one individual gets the Genius Award, the Robert Pine Genius Award, and I think we've got another great choice this year.
I think so. So past winners, Leonard Lightfoot from Silver Spoons. Marjo Gortner. He was on Medical Center, but also just for being Marjo. And then John Amos from Good Times.
Yes.
And so this time it's Michael Conrad from Hill Street Blues.
Congratulations, yes.
Another sergeant
Yeah.
police sergeant. Most memorable on that show are for doing the roll call scenes, which we spent a lot of time talking about on our Hill Street Blues episode.
Yeah.
An actor who he did, he was winning awards at the time, but of course he died during the course of that show. But clearly an actor who had been around a long time and not gotten his due. Gotten a lot of work, but not gotten the kind of praise he was getting with that. And just, interesting, I think, at least on Hill Street Blues, mix of sort of a little bit macho, but a little bit, he spoke in a sort of poetic way and showed some sensitivity and, just really held those almost monologue scenes for minutes at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, our first posthumous Genius Award winner. It's well-deserved. I think one thing about this is if you listen to each of our shows, you could probably get a pretty good idea of who the people that jump out, because we get so excited talking about the person, and we think, boy, we could watch like a whole episode or a whole show based around this person. And in this case, it really did stand out. It just somebody that elevated the whole thing whenever he was on screen. So Michael Conrad, worthy Genius Award winner.
If you're not going to seek out Hill Street Blues, maybe at least seek out some clips of him on YouTube. There should be a supercut of all of this.
Yeah.
Every roll call.
That would be great work if anybody did that.
Yeah. But I think any of those you could pick, and I don't think you need context.
No.
That's a police roll call. He's going through what people need to pay attention to in the day.
Yeah, right. And when you describe it like that, it doesn't sound that interesting, police roll call.
Yeah.
But he makes it into one of the best parts of every episode.
Yeah.
And that's testament to his genius.
Yeah. So congratulations, posthumously, but to Michael Conrad. And that's the BATTY Awards.
Yeah.
We're done.
Wow. We made it. Or at least we made it through the BATTY Awards.
We did, yeah. Will we make it home from the BATTY Awards?
Well, I don't know about that.
Always a question mark.
Yeah. That's up in the air or wherever we are. It's up in somewhere.
The aether.
Yeah. Exactly, yes. Well, I feel good about the baddies. I think, I'll be glad to be back in my physical form again.
Yeah.
But I think this worked out pretty well.
I don't want to concern you, but there's something hovering over your head.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dare I look at it?
I think that would be a bad idea.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try focusing on anything.
Yes. I'll describe it to you.
Okay.
It's green.
Okay.
And furry.
Green and furry.
And it has dark eyebrows.
And it has dark eyebrows.
And yellow eyes.
A
heart 3 sizes too small.
Oh. Is this Tom Snyder with food poisoning?
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh. Let's try to get out of here as fast as we can then.
Help us, Dr. Strange. We'll see you soon.
Or help us, Morgan Le Fay. We've said enough nice things about you.
Hey.
You should give us a break.
Yeah. Look forward to season 6.
Yes, and
Morgan Le Fay in all her forms on 70s and 80s TV.
Go ahead and follow us on social media, though, and feel free to share your opinions on the baddies.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've directly asked for that before, but if you disagree with us, well, we're not going to change the baddies. That's pretty sacrosanct now.
Yes. Yeah.
But feel free to share your opinion, especially like on our Facebook page or
our Facebook group.
Yes.
Join our Facebook group and have a discussion.
Yes.
About the baddies.
Really, tell us what we did wrong, what we did right, and everything in between.
Right. Complain about how long the show was.
Yeah.
The musical numbers.
To us, we have no conception of how long this was, so you can't really blame us for that, but feel free to express your opinion anyway.
It was infinitely short and infinitely long.
It was all those things, yes. And I'm looking forward to the season 6 baddies already.
Yes, and we'll see you on the physical plane.
The BATTY Awards brought to you by Season 6 of Battle of the Network shows, coming soon. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle of the Network shows.